Jack, they had nobody left, okay? Nobody left from their two deep from the first game in the D-line. That is bananas. Not a single guy left on the two deep in their defensive line. That means it's practice squad guys off the street.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Finish Strong Friday, a Picks Friday, a Winners Friday edition of the mighty RTFP, presented, of course, by DraftKings. Yep, I'm doing it maybe a little bit, recording a little bit later than I normally do from a hotel room in Detroit before I fly back home after the game of the year in the NFL. Absolutely incredible. I will get to that momentarily. You guys know the deal on Fridays. Number one, I recap the Thursday night game, which is going to be especially a good one today because I called the game last night with Ian Eagle for Westwood One National Radio. Then I give you my picks each and every game in the NFL, straight up, not against the spread. If you want against the spread picks, you have to listen or watch the Even Money Betting Podcast, which, incidentally, we are on a roll. Steve and I were both up double digits this week again, so we went ahead and we put that on the feed, on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast feed, because we want more of you to check it out, even if you're not into betting a little bit. We want you to at least hear how we talk about games from that perspective. By the way, we're both up 2 units. We had a best bet on the Green Bay Packers plus 3.5, and they lost by 3. So anyway, it's a Winners Friday. So at the end of the show, I'm going to get to the winners, those of you that spread the word via social media or took advantage of one of our sponsors or just made a comment at youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, where a lot of you can check it out. By the way, programming note for winners for the next couple weeks, if you post on any social media platform, in particular Twitter X, your Spotify Wrapped, we love those. We'll repost it. You got Spotify Wrapped where you show how much you have listened to us this year. Please post on social media or email us, ross@rosstucker.com. We got to start, though, Jack, by getting into last night's game. It was incredible. And yes, in Detroit, they do drink a decent amount of Labatt Blue Light. I'm going to take things to the next level starting tonight, drinking some Labatt Blue Light with friends, living life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross. Well, as you mentioned, last night's game did live up to the hype. Detroit, they stay at the top of the NFC once again with a 34-31 walk-off win.
Absolutely incredible from start to finish. A ridiculous atmosphere. You know, having called the game. Well, I guess I should start with this. The food. Since a lot of you love my breakdowns of the press box food, which I feel like I've been slacking a little bit this year in breaking it down. They had a little bit of salad, but it ran out pretty quickly. Then they had mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, chicken tenders, fried shrimp. I do give them a slight upgrade by having always available ice, which I like, and Coke Zero, which you guys know I like. I'll go C+. You know, I like having something a little bit nicer, like a little bit nice, healthier options. You know, chicken tenders or fried shrimp, and those are like that's what you're eating, right? We got there before 5. I was there till almost midnight. That's what you got. Now, actually, I'll go B- because at halftime they have Blue Bunny ice cream options, and so I had a what do they call it? We used to call them Nutty Buddies. I forget what they're called from from Blue Bunny, but I had one of those. I was going to have a strawberry shortcake too. I had a couple bites and thought, nah, I don't need it. I don't need these calories. Anyway, the ice cream at halftime takes him from a C plus to a B minus. It was fine. The game was way better than fine. I mean, I don't even know where to start other than it's so rare, I feel like, Jack, when you have a huge game like this that more than lives up to the hype. I mean, it started out, the Lions got off to a really hot start. The Packers did not. You know, the Packers had a couple punts and a fumble, and ultimately, I'm not going to say that's what cost them the game, but that put them behind the eight ball because the Lions went up 10-0. The Lions are incredibly resilient, and offensively, they are like a machine. I mean, they just marched. It might have been their first drive, run and pass like they always do. The key play there was the Keyshawn Nixon penalty to go up 7-0. Now, one of the plays of the game was the Christian Watson fumble. Because then, now credit to the Packers, they only gave up a field goal there, but it was still like a free 3 points for the Lions to go up 10-0. What I liked is after that, Jack, the Packers had a drive that was almost all runs. I think it was 9 or 10 runs, 2 passes to get their first touchdown. That was a big boy drive, and that was something that I was calling for them to do the whole night because of how thin the Lions were on the defensive line. They already were without DJ Reader, and they were without Pascal and Onwuzurike. Then they lose Aleem McNeil to a concussion during the game. You got to win that game, man. Jack, they had nobody left, okay? Nobody left from their two deep from the first game in the D-line. That is bananas. Not a single guy left on the two deep in their defensive line. That means it's practice squad guys, guys off the street, third stringers, all of that. Then, you know, even after the Packers scored, though, the Lions, their offensive coordinator, I love him. It's such a beautiful mix from Ben Johnson of the run and the pass. You know, they get Gibbs, you know, on 4th and 2, which I guess was probably the biggest story of the game, was Dan Campbell's willingness to go for it on 4th down. You know, we were teammates. He was a blocking tight end. You know, for him to go for it down by the goal line, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and throw 2 touchdown passes, not runs, touchdown passes. They did get stoned on 1 4th down, but then they sealed it with another. The Packers started the second half with a fury. It was 17-7 at halftime. Packers came flying out. The bomb from Jordan Love to Christian Watson. Then he threw the ball to Tucker Kraft, who I love. I love that dude. Tucker Kraft might be my favorite tight end in the NFL. I'd have to think about it, but blocks his you-know-what off. How about, did you know that was called a kip-up, Jack?
I did not. For once, I actually don't know something.
Okay. He got smoked by Jack Campbell, and he did this thing to get up where he just did like a muscle spasm with his hands, and it was like from Karate Kid. It was unbelievable.
I think Shawn Michaels when I see that, but
yeah, it is Shawn Michaels, but it's called a kip up.
I didn't know that was exactly
or
called.
A no-sell kip up. Anyway, after that, then right after that, Keyshawn Nixon intercepted Goff. Goff didn't see him, zone coverage. Next thing you know, Jacob scores. It's 21-17 Packers. Then we went back and forth. The screen passes for the Lions led to Tim Patrick's first touchdown. They're back up 24-21. Then on 4th down, the Lions failed, and the Packers converted that into another Jacobs touchdown, 28-24. The Lions, they don't mess around. They march back down for Tim Patrick. He never scored a touchdown for the Lions. He had 2 last night, 31-28. You know, the Packers came down. I don't know what they said on TV. I thought they called a very poor offensive pass interference on Christian Watson. I did not think that should have been OPI. I don't know what Terry McCauley said in the booth. That led to the Packers having to settle for a field goal, 31-31. Of course, the Lions play action their way down, and then they go for it on fourth down, even though they lost a yard on third down. I don't know why they don't just run quarterback sneaks, but they do it, and they kick the field goal. They close out the game 34-31. Absolutely fantastic, fantastic football game. Loved every second of it. Food probably could have been a little bit better, but I don't complain. I evaluate. You don't need to look any further. I have the best gift you could possibly get. Not only any 3 through 11-year-old, but anybody in your life who has a 3 through 11-year-old. It is by far the best way I've ever seen to teach little kids about the sport of football and make them become big fans. It's a storybook with all kinds of different activities that you play with them. Even just the ring toss for them to learn the downs is absolutely genius. These guys are listeners. These guys are awesome. They want you to be able to spend your Saturdays and Sundays with your child or grandchild or whoever. Just go to futurefans.com/Ross to get 10% off. That's futurefans.com/Ross. It's only $49.99. Futurefans.com/Ross. You'll love it. Absolutely love the holiday season because it's a great time to get together with family and friends. Smirnoff is the world's #1 vodka, an official vodka partner of the NFL. This year, there's more opportunities to watch football and make delicious Smirnoff cocktails than ever before. We just had Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Now we'll have the Saturday games, the Christmas games, obviously Sundays. This holiday season, when you're enjoying the game and your cocktails, please make sure to drink responsibly. Take a minute, make a plan, never drive impaired. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, we're going to start our picks with the New York Jets, who are at the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins going to win. So I like the Dolphins to win the game. The problem for the Dolphins is it's getting real late, real early. Because they lost, but the Broncos and Colts both won. So the Dolphins are essentially like 3 games back, 2 in the loss column of the Broncos, who have a bye. So if the Dolphins win this one, then they are just 2 games back, but that's still a lot to make up. But we're not focused on that. We're focused on them playing the Jets. I give a ton of credit to Aaron Rodgers. He keeps playing in these games, even if he's not playing particularly well. I like the Dolphins to take care of business. You know, yes, they laid an egg on Thanksgiving, but more time to rest and prepare for this one. I think they bounce back, score a decent amount of points here against the Jets defense. It's been bad, really bad, since Jeff Ulbrich took over. How about 27-20? 27-20 Dolphins.
Next up is the Kirk Cousins revenge game. The Falcons, they're traveling to Minnesota.
I think we said it earlier in the week. If not, I'll say it again. It's crazy that Kirk Cousins' team is 6-6. His former team is 10-2, and his former team's quarterback is playing a decent amount better. If Cousins didn't look, I don't like using this term, but if Cousins didn't look kind of washed the last couple weeks, if he didn't look as bad as he did, I would absolutely take the Falcons in this one. And I still do have a sneaky suspicion that Cousins is able to bounce back in a major way. But when I make these picks, I make them like as if you guys were putting money on it. And so I think it's more likely that the Vikings win. I think it will be competitive, but I think it's probably 23-17 or 23-20 Minnesota.
Next up is the Jeremy Shockey Bowl. The Saints are at the Giants.
Ooh, I like that reference, Jack. That's a good one. I'm taking the Saints. I don't have any knowledge or faith in what the Giants are going to do. Who knows? Maybe I think it's still Drew Lock at quarterback. Maybe they'll come out and play well and play at a high level and get the win, but hard to predict that based on what I've seen. At least with Darren Rizzi as the head coach of the Saints, I have a lot of faith and belief that the Saints are going to come out and play hard for him. You never know, though. Maybe since they lost on Sunday, they suffer a little bit of a letdown, thinking, okay, we are out of it at this point. They're not. They're down. They're 2 games back, but I just don't know how the Saints are going to come out. The Giants actually had extra time to rest and prepare, playing on Thanksgiving. I don't know how much that impacts them. Give me the Saints. I just don't see the Giants scoring that many points. 20-17, New Orleans on the road.
Next up, the Carolina Panthers. They're at the Philadelphia Eagles.
So Carolina has played much, much better. I'm a little bit surprised by this betting line. For those of you that are so inclined over there, the Eagles are favored by 13 points. That is about as much as you'll ever see in the NFL. I guess, the Eagles would still be my lock of the week. If you're still in a survivor pool and you haven't picked the Eagles, which I think is all of that is probably unlikely. But I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think the Eagles are going to have Saquon break one, with 5 minutes left to go up by 2 scores to kind of clinch it. I'm going to go 27-17, the Eagles, because this Carolina team is playing a pretty darn good brand of football lately.
Next up, we got an AFC North battle with the Browns. They're traveling to Pittsburgh to play Steelers.
They just played a couple weeks ago. That was the snow game in Cleveland. I'm looking forward to this one. It's a tough spot for the Browns, right? Having just played on Monday night, so it's a short week for them. They're on the road again. Russell Wilson is playing at a really high level right now, and they just played him 2 weeks ago and beat him. So the Steelers have that going on in the back of their mind. I don't see that. I don't see the Browns being able to get this done again. That'd be super impressive if they did. I'd give them all kinds of credit. I don't see it. It might not be that competitive. Every once in a while, the Browns lay an egg. I think it will be competitive. I'll say 23-17. The Steelers and Russell Wilson get the win.
Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. They're at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Missed opportunity there, Jack. You could have said the John
Super Bowl
Gruden
37.
Bowl. Super Bowl 37.
You reference this all. You reference it all in Feast. I'm not going to take it from you. See, you stole
can.
my thunder.
Not
That's so
everybody listens to the Fantasy Feast or watches it on DK Network or YouTube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. John Gruden Bowl would have been epic because the Raiders literally traded him to the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl against them that year. Do you know that?
I do know that.
You know he was traded from the Raiders to the Bucs?
Yeah, because he's one of 3 coaches that have been traded.
Got it. Well, listen, I'm taking the Bucs. They are playing much, much better. Really, I feel like since they got Mike Evans back, that's been helpful. The Raiders, they're competitive, but it's just hard to have any faith in them late in a game. It's hard to have faith that they'll be able to come through late in these games. I don't see it. So I'll go with the Bucs. Let's say Raiders defense isn't terrible. Same score I think I gave for the last one, maybe. 23-17 Bucs over the Raiders.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars are at the Tennessee Titans.
Somebody's got to win this one bowl. I like the Titans. They laid a major, major egg last time out against the Commanders. I think they're better than that. I think they're a little more prideful than that. The Jaguars, we'll see what Mac Jones can do, getting the start, getting all the reps. But I think the Titans bounce back. Usually in the NFL, when a team has a really bad game like that, the next game they come out and play much better. That's what I'm expecting from Tennessee. So give me the Titans to win this game. And I think there's a decent amount of points. Well, maybe not. How about 24-17 Titans?
Next up, we got an NFC West battle with the Seahawks and the Cardinals.
One of the games of the day in the NFL. I mean, this will go a long way towards determining whether or not we have a battle in the NFC West down the stretch or not, because the Seahawks are on top right now, but second place right there is the Arizona Cardinals, kind of breathing down their neck, and the Rams for that matter. Give me the Cardinals to win the game. They're playing at home. Man, they blew one against the Vikings last week where they played very well. Seahawks kind of stole one last week. That's the NFL, man. That difference right there between those two things. I'll take the Arizona Cardinals, low scoring, like Steve and I said on the Even Money show, 20-17 Cardinals, and there might not even be that many points.
Somehow this is only the 15th time these two teams have played, and that is the Bills and the Rams.
Gotta like the Bills here just because they've been absolutely on fire. Now, they've won a lot in a row. So you feel like at some point the Bills are going to lose one, and this would probably be the type of game they would lose on the road, coming off the snow game and everything that goes into that. I can't do it. I can't pick this Rams squad to beat the Bills. It'd be an impressive win for the Rams if they did it, and it's certainly possible. But I'll go with the Buffalo Bills. I just love the way they're playing right now. I think there's a decent amount of points in this one. How about 27-23? 27-23 Bills over the Rams. I just think the Bills are too good right now, too talented.
Next up, Chicago Bears. They're at the 49ers.
Duh, Bears. Duh, Bears. Man, this is actually one of the tougher games of the week to pick. It's kind of hard to know which way to go here because you think the Bears are kind of getting the new head coach boost maybe, although that's a lot to put on Thomas Brown. You know, he just went from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator and play caller. Now he's the interim head coach as well. I'll take the Niners. I'll take the Niners, even though they lose McCaffrey, they lose Jordan Mason. I don't think there's a ton of points in this one, but I think that the Niners win a close one. This is like a straight coin flip game for me. I'm going to say 20-17. San Francisco finds a way to get it done in a close game late because I think Thomas Brown is not used to being in these situations late, but Shanahan is. I think there's a believe it or not, Bears fans will hate this, but a coaching error late, which is the difference.
Next, the Chargers. They're at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Go, Chargers, go. San Diego, Superchargers, San Diego, Chargers. So the problem is I don't know fully how healthy Ladd McConkey is. And so if I knew there was a fully healthy Ladd McConkey, I might even take the Chargers in this game. But the Chiefs have had a couple extra days to rest and heal, and they have an uncanny ability to win these close games. It's like the craziest thing ever. I'll expect that to continue since that is what they do. I hope and think it'll be a fun back and forth game that the Chiefs ultimately win late because that's just what they do. And it'll be the similar score to what a lot of their scores have been lately. I'll say 27-24, Chiefs 24-23, something like that. I think the Chargers have a great chance to upset them. I can't do it.
And we'll wrap things up with Monday night where the Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys.
Do you understand this Simpsons thing, Jack, or what this alternate Simpsons broadcast is?
It's something like they did it before with like a different show or animated version. It just sounds like it's just like one of like those animated broadcasts that they've done a couple times in the past. They did one last year. I forget what the theme was. It might have just been animated.
I've never heard of this before.
It was I think it was a London game. It wasn't a Simpsons broadcast. It was some like animated broadcast. I forget what it was for.
Got it. Well, my guy Dan Orlovsky's part of it, I think, so that'll be interesting. I mean, I'm not going to watch it. I guess maybe I'll flip it on. Is it on ESPN2, I guess?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'll flip it on for a couple seconds and check it out. I like the Bengals to win the game. Now they have a tendency to lose these close games, whereas the Cowboys have now won back-to-back and they're feeling better about themselves, but I cannot pick Cooper Rush's team to beat Joe Burrow's team. Cannot do it. I'm sorry. It's very possible because the Bengals are the anti-Chiefs in which they lose all these games, but I can't do it. I'll take the Bengals. I think they score a decent amount of points because they always score a decent amount of points. How about like a fun shootout? I don't know how much, Cooper Rush can shoot out, but I'll say 31-27 Cincinnati. I do need to, Jack, give out the winners for this week. Hopefully you guys stuck around because those of you that go the extra mile. So when I have a spread the word winner, that's someone that just reposts on any social platform or replies or comments. In particular, I look for the replies and comments because the algorithms really like those. It shows that you're engaged. And David Peters made a comment on one of our Instagram posts. So kudos to David Peters. You're the spread the word winner via social media. The sponsor confirmation email winner is Joseph Miller. I told you guys about Future Fans earlier. He forwarded his order email from Future Fans and said he can't wait to play with it with the grandkids. I love that, Joseph. Very, very smart man. Terrific gift. And then the YouTube shout out goes to Mark Noble. So all you have to do there is make a comment on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. He talked about how much he liked the Even Money Betting Podcast. Here's the thing, though. For me to get you guys your winnings, which I'm going to be able to do tomorrow. I'm off this weekend, so tomorrow, Saturday, I'll do it. You got to email me, ross@rosstucker.com. Want to see those Spotify Wrapped, please? I love those. Makes me feel good about myself. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Finish strong. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com, myfrontpagestory.com. If you have a parent or grandparent that is still living, I can't recommend enough getting them one of these stories written by a professional author all about how amazing and special they are. That's framed, cover the newspaper. They will hang it up in their house for the rest of their lives, and I'll send you a signed autograph. myfrontpagestory.com. Backofficescheduler.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy